After writing 2 transformational books myself and supporting many other beings to do the same, I've become enthralled by the deep and mysterious magic that's activated when we choose to say yes to ourselves and commit to the book writing journey. Of course, we want to inspire change and new perspectives in our readers, but the transformation that happens as an author, both throughout the writing process and by actually releasing your book into the world, is surprisingly potent. I know I've been blindsided in the most disruptive and delicious ways by some of the changes my books have brought into my life. Writing a book is like casting a spell. Although we can never be completely sure what's going to be unleashed during the process, we choose to do it anyway. This Unbound one is a heroic journey. Each book has the potential to be a magical portal, a doorway to a new world, both for you and your reader. Each book has a very specific medicine that it's here to share with us. And each book gives us the opportunity to alchemize the magnificent imperfection of our experience into gold. The truth is that anyone can write a book. We could all get a few thousand words down and put them together. But what fascinates me is what happens when we allow the book writing process to go deeper. When we say, fuck it, get naked and dive way down beneath the surface. Letting go of the shoulds and any need to be acceptable, sensible, or approved of. What fascinates me is what happens when we make ourselves fully available to being transformed by the very act of writing a book. This is Unbound Writing, and this is the process we'll be exploring together here in the Unbound Writers Club. I'm Nicola, author and founder of the Unbound Press, and I help magical beings to write the transformational book they're really here to write at this time. I'm your guide here in the Unbound Writers Club, and the aim of this podcast is to help you to feel supported, encouraged, activated as you embark on your book writing journey. Whether you're a first-time author or have many books out in the world, my hope is that you will find something here to inspire you. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Unbound Writers Club. Today feels like a really special episode because I am joined by the Unbound Press author, Zoe Foster. Like, she is an author, but Zoe is also an artist. Like, I have one of her amazing paintings on the wall behind me in my office. If you've ever been on Zoom with me, you can't have missed it, basically. And so many people ask about Zoe's artwork. It's called Carly Unbound. I had to have it when I saw her sharing it back in 2020, I think it was. Anyway, I digress. She's an amazing artist, an amazing writer, and her book, It's Written in the Stars, is out now. This is a book that it's so different from us at the Unbound Press. We've released books before with a visual element and a strong visual element, but where Zoe wanted to bring together her words and her artwork, this book is just stunningly visual. The words are powerful and the artwork is super, super powerful. And together, you are in for a treat. So how Zoe describes It's Written in the Stars on the back cover of the book is a multi-sensory, immersive experience like no other. Come and bathe in these pages of magnetizing energy art, soul-nourishing words, and potent energy transformations. And yeah, I mean, it is such a special book. I am holding my copy here in my hands as I record this for you, and yeah, we talk about this during our conversation. It's just a glorious book. That is the word that is coming. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking and I am going to introduce you to Zoe. If you haven't connected with her before, She's someone who's been in my world personally since I think we connected at the beginning of 2020, before the world went a bit crazy. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to her. Anyway, let's get into the conversation and find out more about the process of bringing It's Written in the Stars together. Let me introduce you to Zoe. So Zoe, welcome to the Unbound Writers Club.
Hi.
I feel quite emotional, actually. I just felt that as we kind of hit record. It feels really big for you to be here, like today at this stage in the journey that we've been on. And we'll get into all of that. But I will ask the first question that I always ask, which is, what does it mean to you to be an Unbound writer?
Do you know, I keep reflecting on this in just about every time somebody asks me, like, how do I write, or, you know, how was this created? You know, I just did a piece for Authority magazine, and I was really reflecting on this, because to me the Unbound writing is so natural to me now. Like I almost, like that person who used to really struggle to write and used to like self-criticize every single word and go through that whole, you know, like internal editing phase automatically. That's a completely different person. And Unbound writing to me is simply about sitting down and allowing that channel. It is a channel, and I couldn't have said that a couple of years ago, probably, but it really is. It's trusting that channel. And, you know, often I want to give an example, actually. Yesterday, I sat down and wrote an Instagram post, and usually I have some sort of an idea what I want to say on Instagram. You know, there's always like a billion different things, isn't there? And what usually happens is when I start writing, it's, you know, either I'll have quite a clear idea, or something will kind of go, okay, this is coming through now, this one at the top of the list. And yesterday I sat down and I was like, I haven't actually got a clue what I'm going to write. And I did dither a little bit for a minute or two, and then I just started writing, and I thought it was something that I was self-reflecting on, and I kind of was. So it was a post about safety, which is something, you know, it's not my kind of normal go-to post, but this whole post around safety came through. And part of it was in reflection of where we are now personally with our circumstances. You know, we have a house now, we have a home, we have a garden to grow things in, and yeah, I've been drying herbs and things, but I didn't actually talk about any of that. And when I started writing, I thought that I would, but actually what wanted to come through was purely about when we really access that area, that safety within us, that we can also extend outside of us. And there are different levels of safety. I want to say that as well. There are definitely different levels. There's the being safe now, and there's the being safe in the near future, and then there's feeling safe and held all the time. And we can do that for ourselves, but there are also, you know, there are always other circumstances going on, aren't there? Like having a house, not having a house, for example. But when we find that space, we can then create from our pure soul channel. And it's not a space of creating because we have to. It's not a space of creating because, you know, we're like in creative problem solving mode, and where it's kind of panicked and like, well, I've got to get something out, which is, to be honest, probably the majority of how we create, because we are in a world that doesn't feel safe most of the time. And so this post came through, and I didn't really know why. And then I had several people contact me directly and go, God, thank you for writing that. I really needed to hear that today. And I was like, oh, it was for you, okay.
Oh, I love that. Like, what happens when we trust like showing up and showing up even though we don't know what's going to come through. It's like, okay, but I'm going to show up anyway. And then trusting like yourself and what wants to come through, even if it's not what you initially expected it was going to be. Like that feels like the
and the doubt does come in after, you know, I kind of let it come through. And it's the same with my painting sometimes. I did some painting this week as well. And, you know, I kind of got in the zone and had all the fun and joy and pleasure and all the, you know, all the stuff that happens when I get onto my canvas. And then when I had to leave for the afternoon, I was kind of going, I'm not really sure about what's just happened. And it was the same with that post yesterday. But it is just an ongoing process of trust.
Yeah. And I think it's that vulnerability that happens after we've shared something like really true. Like, yeah, something where the word kind of essential actually is coming, like of our essence and of.
Yes.
That's the word that's coming more than true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wow. I'm kind of blown away already. Let's continue.
That's it, folks. That's the end of the episode.
You're welcome. It would be a shame not to talk about It's Written in the Stars, though, really.
Well, I think that is a perfect example of trust. I mean, there's no think about it. It really is. From the very beginning, it was, you know, I have said this a few times now, but I had no inclination, no desire to write or try to write another book after releasing, you know, the thing that I was trying to write before. And I keep blaming you, honestly, you and Joe. Because you guys, you know, with your incredible meditation, visualization, I saw the book. And Joe said, oh yeah, I saw the book too. And I was like, God damn it, Joe.
And let's just say we're talking about Joe Gifford here, who's one of our authors, at the Unbound Press and one of our team members, and just,
And basically, I just knew then when I saw the book that I had to follow, and I didn't know what was going to be in it. I didn't know literally anything about it. I just had a vision and a feeling, and I kept every step of the way trusting that feeling. And it really was, okay, like this is happening now. And, you know, okay, this is how it's going to be written, and this is how it's going to be very loosely structured. And you know, when it came to designing as well, I realized we had that pivotal moment with Linda, the designer, where I realized I hadn't actually thought about, like I'd kind of seen it, but I hadn't really thought about how is it really going to be designed? Because actually it's not a written book with some design elements, which is kind of how I think maybe we'd thought about it. And that was what Linda started with. And I was like, there's something not quite happening here. What is it? And then I was like, oh, it's not just a written book with some design elements and some art. It's really like, well, it's an art book with some words. It's an art and design, and it's the whole thing. It's just you've got to get in it, and then the words are also there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because then you were talking about writing the book, and it's like, oh yeah, like it kind of reminded me that you did have to write it, because
I did have to write some of it.
I know you did. I know you did, but. You know, and obviously, like, you know, I read the initial manuscript when you sent it over, and that was, you know, just the words. And now it feels like something so completely different.
It does.
Yeah.
Even to me, I mean, it just, I keep coming back to, like, I've always wanted to be a writer since the age of like 0, basically. And I keep coming back to the fact that with the Unbound Press, I've been given the opportunity to create something that isn't, I mean, I just want to say it's not just a book, because I love books, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have made so many incredible books now, and continuing to do even more and more. It's amazing. But this has just allowed me to be, I guess, my full creative self.
Mm-hmm.
And there's my energy work in there as well. So again, it's not even just words and art. There's energy work in there. I've got my transmutations, which are incredibly powerful. There's like 4 transmutations and a meditation. And I've also created the audio resources for those as well. So if you prefer to listen, you can go to the book page and just download all of that goodness for yourself. So yeah, there's just so much in there. And I can't imagine having been able to create this with any other publisher or with any other way, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? It's been a real process of trust for me, I feel, as well. Because I remember our first conversation about it, and I was like, I'm not quite sure how we're going to make this happen, but we'll just we'll
see.
We'll start and we'll take it step by step, and we'll figure it out as we go, which has very much been the process. And I'm so grateful to all the members of the Unbound Press team for, like, and especially Linda,
absolutely.
like, for kind of coming together with you, the both of you, and being able to
she was absolutely incredible. Some days I wondered why she put up with me, honestly, because I'd be like, well, this isn't quite right, but I don't really know why. Can you maybe twiddle with this, or
twiddle? Can you twiddle with this?
Oh, but yeah, she was amazing, and it's obvious in the book. Like I created the art, but I couldn't have put that book together. No way. And I have some design skills, but I couldn't have put that together. So yeah, I'm really grateful to Linda.
Like, this is a huge question, but
I like huge.
Yeah, I mean, what I was just going to say, like, what has the whole process been like for you? But really, I guess it's like, what have you learned about yourself in the process? That's what's coming.
Oh my goodness, what have I learned about myself? I mean, so much has changed, since we had that initial conversation, both in the external world and internally. What have I learned about myself? I guess I've learned to really trust my creative urges and to allow them, because it's so easy. It's obviously spent a lifetime before this of mistrusting them and not allowing them, or just allowing the tiniest spark. And there were, I would say this book was so easy in many respects. It was such a flowing, organic, really joyous and beautiful process. And kudos to the Unbound for the majority of that, and for holding me through it. And at the same time, there were so many challenges personally, and also, sticky bits, even with the publishing and all the rest of it. So it really is just about, I've learned to just keep trusting. It just sounds so cliched, but it's huge, because you've got to keep learning it.
Yeah. You've got to keep remembering it, I think, haven't you? It's like, oh, actually, it's okay to trust. It's okay.
Yes. And in those moments, you kind of, I am self-aware enough now that I can reflect rather than catastrophize. It does happen sometimes. But I reflect and go, well, I trusted last time and it all worked out. And, you have that kind of little inner tantrum that goes, but it's hard, it's not working out.
Exactly. And I think with this process, like, anyway, the writing process, but as you just spoke to, the publishing process, there can definitely be those sticky bits where it's not working. And it's so weird because like each book has its own kind of different flavor of that. It just fascinates me, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm like, what is going on this time? And I don't know where I was going with that, but there you go. But no, what I was going to say, but this book, because it is so different, that yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful to you for like trusting us enough to like hold you through the
Yeah.
process. And there's something, like, I have the book here, I'm holding it in my hands as we're speaking, and there's something for me, like, this book just feels so bountiful. That is the word that's coming.
Oh,
And
I love that.
for somebody to allow themselves to create a book or anything that is, all of my work personally feels like it's about like being fully expressed or allowing ourselves to
Yes.
like the fullest
Yeah.
expression that we can at this
Yeah.
moment, you know.
Yes. Yes.
um, and this book, I just can't think of a more perfect kind of expression of that. Like, you've allowed yourself to be fully expressed on these pages, and it feels like there's been no like holding, like, and this is what I'm really passionate about, obviously, but like in every single way there's been no like holding back or like, oh well, you know, maybe it's gonna be a bit tricky to do it like that, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because as you were speaking, I was thinking back to pre-COVID, pre all of that,
Yeah.
and there was so much of myself that I was holding back. You know.
Ooh.
Sorry.
A flyby.
Oh, it's all going here. Yeah, there was so much of myself that I was holding back, and you know, it's just bonkers to me that everything has unfolded so rapidly. You know, because I spent decades feeling trapped and feeling like any expression would cost me something, whether that was judgment in some way or, you know, yeah, feeling too visible or, yeah, just so much. And I've, you know, I'm by no means like 100% like, yeah, let's get on a stage and rock a stadium. I'm not there, definitely. I'm probably, you know, that's not me anyway. But there are some aspects of the book, for example, where, you know, the language I use. So I swear in it in some instances, which again, I couldn't have let myself a few years ago. You know, it's only, yeah, it's definitely only quite recently that I really let myself do that in any of my writing because it always felt inappropriate. Again, that word. But there are other aspects like what will people think of, you know, my paintings? I don't care actually because they are what they are. They are pure energy, and I don't think that. Yeah, there's almost a distance between me and any judgment. It is mine, but it's not mine. Also, if that makes sense. And then there are aspects like of, you know, some of the photographs that, you know, there's lots of pictures of me in there, which, my God, you know, like that really, I don't know at what point I managed to get over sharing pictures of myself, especially after, you know, all of the kind of physical trauma that I've been through. You know, I have really wrinkly eyes and I have really dry skin because of the stuff that I've gone through. And I think there was only one picture. It was one of my selfies from a sacred expression session. And I think because of the way it was maybe zoomed in or something, you could see that part of my skin was really dry. And I was like, can you take that out, Linda? Because I just don't like that one.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like literally the only one. And all of the others, no, my God, I'm not a fucking model by any means, you know, but that's me.
I love it. Like, so many different layers of
Exactly.
like expression and like allowing yourself to take up space and
exactly.
yeah, like
and body image as well. You know, I've been different weights. I think we all have over the last few years. And you know, sometimes I've got quite a bigger belly, bigger boobs, and other times I'm not. And it's like, well, so what?
Exactly. Oh, like, what's your intention for the book? No, like for someone when they get their copy and hold it in their hands. I know everyone's going to have their own experience, but for you, the creator of this book, what's your intention for the reader?
I really, really hope and desire support for people above all else. So I have referred to it as like a kind of giant flickable oracle deck, and it really is, because although even having said that, it's kind of it's one of those really weird, like, doesn't fit into any category kind of books. It's easy to describe it as like a coffee table book, and I don't like that term, because a coffee table book to me just sits on a table looking pretty, and it's not just a pretty book. Yes, it's nice to look at. Yes, it's nice to flick through. Yes, it's nice to have on your coffee table or your nightstand or, you know, wherever. But for me, the real energy of this book and the real power in it is that it is like the energy of support and love, and those are the best two words I can think of right now, are just really infused into the whole book. And I want people to be able to just open it at any page, and, you know, to kind of trust that they can go to it a bit like an oracle deck and go, you know, what do I need today, and open it, and they'll find what they need in that moment. That's my biggest desire, really.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were talking about, like, the, you know, coffee table book there, and I know that's something we kind of spoke about, like having, like, in terms of, I guess, the scale of it, because it has.
Yes. I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it, definitely.
But there's something about a coffee table book that feels really passive, like it just
yes,
like it feels
active.
And the word dynamic, like you just feel, and it, like, you get to really interact with this book. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's exactly, the passive versus active is exactly the distinction. Yeah, we've hit it there. Yeah.
Amazing. How does it feel for you now, Zoe? You know, I know in terms of timing, like, we were working towards one day, it didn't happen. It didn't want to happen then. And now, you know, the book is making its way into the world. How does that feel for you?
I got really depressed when, I was going to say the deadline. It wasn't a deadline, but I guess it felt a bit like a deadline of the 5th of May. I got really depressed when that passed, and yeah, it wasn't quite ready to get out, and then I had to cancel. I mean, haven't really cancelled it. I've kind of just let it slide, my book blessing and launch and everything. And then when I started to send, so I got the books, obviously, I got some books in, and that kind of felt a little bit anxious. Like, I felt a little bit anxious. I was like, but when I started to send them out, that was when it felt really incredible for me, actually. And again, I think that honestly comes back to the energy of the book itself, is that it wants to be shared. It wants to support people. It wants to be out and just, like, doing its work, doing its thing, doing its magic. It doesn't want to sit on a shelf or sit in a box or, and it also, again, comes back to, I think, a little bit of the book launch thing was maybe around celebrating me rather than the book, and maybe that's why it didn't quite feel right. I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it, but like my paintings, the book almost feels like it's it's me, but it's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're still going to get to do that book blessing ceremony, whatever it is, at some point.
Might be next year.
But this is the thing, like things
It doesn't matter.
it really, well, I know obviously at the time it does matter, you know, when things don't happen in the way or in the timing that we expect. And it really often, you know, can happen with these Unbound books because they're quite fancy and they've got their own.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me that was literally, it felt like a bit of a loss of the celebration.
Yeah.
You know, because it is so important to celebrate our achievements and not just kind of, okay, go on to, okay, what's next on the ladder.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculously easy to do that. And I've had to keep coming back to, you know, not just have I written a book or created this book, but it's out in the world. It's on Amazon, it's in Waterstones, you know, it's in all the places. And I just sent 3 copies to the States, and it's like, you know, it's going all over the fucking world. And to me, I'm like in that state right now where there's a lot of disbelief because so much of it has felt so easy and so quick. And it's also been tied up in like major events and changes in my life, in my family's life, and also in the world. You know, the shift in consciousness from when I started creating this book to now is pretty radical. And so for it to come out in this time, there's just, I don't know, there's just a massive sense of kind of disbelief that I am grappling with.
And that's it. We need some time to kind of adjust to, you know, whether it's a book or a painting, whatever it is, our creations being out in the world. So yeah, it's really important to allow that time and space. And we just get to celebrate, keep on celebrating rather than one day. It's like every time that book makes its way into somebody else's hands, there's an opportunity to celebrate.
Yeah, and it is lovely. Like, I love just being able to send it off on its way, and just it's that's the best part.
Absolutely. Wow, I can just say it was such a joy to receive the book, and you know, the little parcel that I received with it and all the goodies. It was just, oh my goodness, delightful in the true sense of the word. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. I mean, thank you, like I said, for trusting us, for trusting the process, for trusting yourself. Like, this book feels really important in like so many ways, and like all of the books feel really important to me personally, but there's something about this one, just like, I don't know, I can't quite put it into words. So I'm so grateful to you, Zoe.
Oh, thank you.
For those who are listening, who are like, want to find out more about you and your work, your writing, your painting, all of the things, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm going to go against the grain of what I normally say and say, find me on Substack, because I'm really feeling drawn to grow my community and all of my resources there. I love Substack. It just creates a hub for so much magic to happen. And it's a freedom platform. There's no censoring. There's no kind of, you know, you're going to pay for this or advertise for that or anything. So that's zoekmfoster.substack.com. And I've got a pile of stuff on there, but I write on there regularly. My writing is the main kind of thing, much more so than I can do on Instagram or kind of anywhere else. And then I've got my website where you can see all my art, which is zoekmfoster.com, and get my book. Obviously, you can get my book directly from me. So, and on that note, actually, there is a hardback version, which is really beautiful.
It is.
But there's also, so the hardback is available everywhere. You can get that on Amazon or wherever you shop. But there's also a paperback version, and that's only available from me. And then I'm on Instagram and, various other social medias and YouTube at Zoe KM Foster.
Perfect. We'll make sure all the links are in the show notes so people can find you really easily. And this feels like an ongoing conversation. I'm sure we'll get to speak again once It's Written in the Stars has been out in the world for a period of time, and to the magic that she's making in all sorts of ways. So thank you so much, Zoe, for being with me today in the Unbound Writers Club.
Thank you. It's been gorgeous.
What do you do when you want to write a book, but the usual approaches are leaving you feeling restricted, pressurized, not at all enough, and pretty dry, to be honest? You find another way, of course. And if you are listening to this, my free unconventional book writing guide is going to be perfect for you. It's designed especially for soul-led coaches, healers, and mentors who want to write a transformational book without spending hours on end chained to a desk. In it, I'm giving you my unique spin on the top 10 questions I hear from would-be authors, and it's going to help you liberate the way you write forever. Download your free copy of the guide now over at nicolahumber.com/10, the number 10, 10 hyphen questions.